I am going to just do a demo of creating a simple website with Django. Now, my aim here is to create virtually the simplest website that I can, basically just as an intro to getting going with Django, because sometimes just getting started can be so many different bits that it can be challenging. But hopefully this little demo will help get you started. So it's not going to get anything online or anything, but essentially this URL on our local machine is going to serve us up a Django page. So for now there's nothing there. We're using Django, and we are using, I'm going to use Poetry for my local area development, for my Python virtualization. If you don't know what that is, you can come to this URL and just Google virtual environments, but I'll show you step by step how I use it. If you don't have this installed and you want to do the same as me, you can, but if you know pip, you can use pip. It's up to you. I'm not going to go over this too much. Maybe I'll do a video on Poetry at some stage. But to get started, we come into a directory on our command line, and I am going to make a new directory here. I'll just call it demo, and I'm going to go into it. So now we're within that directory, and I'm going to build my Django website here. Now, using Poetry, the first thing I'm going to do is create a new Poetry virtual environment. So most of these things don't matter too much. License, I'll just use MIT. I'm using version 3.10 of Python. It's nice to use more recent stuff. You can install your local dependencies here, but I'll do that separately. And that's that. Now we've got you'll see there's a new file in here that's basically just the information about what the virtual environment is that you're going to create with Poetry. So for now, nothing has been created. We just have the info needed to create it. Now, before I get started going into the virtual environment, I'm going to install Django. So we just do Django, and I will do 4.0. And Poetry, add Django. Let's do okay, so we're using a very recent version of Django, a very recent version of Python. It's always nice to use recent versions when you can. Sometimes in industry you don't have that choice. But we've installed Django in our virtual environment, and now we can do Poetry shell, and we have spawned a new shell to do our Django development in. Now this created this Poetry lock, and we can start doing our development. So the next thing I'm going to do is use VS Code, and we'll do our main development in there. I will come back to the command line to do a few little small things, so like running the server. So the next step, I'm going to open up okay, before I open up VS Code, let me start up a Django project. So if you don't know anything about Django, Django basically has a hierarchy of a project, and then within that project you have another file that has all the, or another folder that has all the Django settings, all the things you need to attach it to a server and that kind of thing. And then you've got your apps. So the apps are basically like little components within Django. Can get a little confusing. There's lots of information on the web if you Google what's the difference between a Django app and a Django project. But hopefully this little demo makes it a little bit clear. So the first thing to start up Django admin start project, not start app, and I will just call this one demo again. Now that has created another folder here, and within that folder, if I do tree, we can see that this is the folder that's been created for us. Within it, this folder has all our settings information, and then we have this utility Python file that becomes important for things like managing databases, all sorts of things. We're not going to do databases in this particular one, but maybe I'll do some work with databases in another version, in another video. But we have no app. So at the same level that this inner demo is, so this is our main project. Within the project we have this, which is our settings, and we can create another file in there. So I'm just going to call it home. So I'm going to do Python 3.10 manage. In fact, let me just do alias. Sometimes Poetry doesn't know which version of Python you're using for some reason. Python equals Python 3.10. I can just type Python. So let's do Python manage. We need to go into that file. Python manage start app. So we did start project with the Django admin before. This time we are doing Python manage start app. So we are within our project that we created here, and now we can use the utility file called manage. We couldn't do it before, but now we have that file available. So create, start app, and I'll call it home. So sorry, I just didn't give it a name. And now if we do tree again, we'll see we have the demo. So we're now within this dot stands for the demo file, our root of the Django project. This is the settings folder, and now this folder is our home, our new app. So that app is within, and you can create multiple apps within your Django project. So now we're ready to do a little bit of development. So let's go into settings. I will go into VS Code. So code opens up VS Code for me, and I will just maximize this. So we're within our main demo folder. We have the demo that has our settings and our home. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just go into settings. It probably doesn't matter for this project, but we can just throw it in here, our home app. So, and I'm not going to do anything else with settings for this project. It really doesn't matter. And then we have another file. So remember, we're in our settings stuff here. We have another file called URLs. Now, within the URLs, at the moment, the only thing that we have access to by default is the admin page. But it'll have no way to find our app. So what we're going to do is just do path and just send everything there. and we are going to do include home.urls, and that will take us to home. We haven't installed the include. I mean, we haven't imported it. Include. So this is a Python utility to say we have another URLs file, and that is going to point out URLs. Now this probably doesn't make sense yet. The URLs file is basically anything that you type. So if we did blog, and then it'll send anything that's where the URL has blog, so in it. I'm not going to show you too much about URLs in this first video, because basically this first video I just want you to get to the point where you can literally start. I don't want to give too much information because there is a lot. Now I am just going to clean this up. We don't need all that stuff, just so you can kind of see what's happening there. Now within our app we don't have a URLs folder, so this that's pointing to home URLs is pointing to nothing. And so the next thing we need to do is create a urls.py folder within our app, and this is where the base URLs string here is, or this line is pointing to. And so in here we're going to do the same from Django URLs URL import path, and we're going to import our home view. We'll get to that in a minute, and then we are going to add the URL for the home view here. So this is an import, and this is where we're going to add it. So I'll come back to this once we have something. And so we can close these two for now, and I will open my views folder. And this is the utility for pointing a page to to the setup that we have for that page. So we need something in here that the URLs is going to point to, and what I'm going to do is just a simple function here called home. Let's call it home view, and we need request. Let's just do that. We don't really need the args and quags for now. I just do it by habit. And we want two things in here. We want template, and we want context is equal to a dictionary. So this is a Python dictionary, this is a Python string, and then we can do return render request template and context equals context. So this is one step more than what we need. We probably don't need anything in here for the time being, but essentially if you're not passing things through the context, you're kind of not using the power of Django. So requests is the request that our URL passes into the view, and it has all the information about the page that's being looked for in our browser. The template is our HTML. This is where our HTML lives. We can have CSS files and other things, but we point to a page with our template. And and in the context we can put any variables that we want to pass to that page. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to do this, and that'll get the most simple page up. And so let's do that. So within our home folder here, we can create a templates folder. And Django knows to look for all your templates folders. Now, I'm going to do one extra step here. You'll see always within Django, people are going to do this. So we have a templates folder, a home folder within it. And then within that home folder, I'm going to create an HTML file. And this index.html is what we're going to point to here. So we don't need the word template, we just need home, that's this directory, and we need index.html. So now our page knows what we're pointing to, and let's just fill this in with some content. Let's call that demo, and let's just add something here. Just so we have something to see when our page comes in. So this is an HTML file, but it's also a Django file. So I'll show you just now how we can use the context to pass things into this file dynamically, and that way we can have content changed as we update our page. So we have a view, we have a URLs file. We haven't imported anything yet, so what we need to import is this home view. So we can do from views import home view, and here we do URL pattern is equal to, now this is a list, and within it we need to give it a path. And for this very simple demo, the only path we're going to have is the straight up main one, and then we're using this home view and passing that in, and we'll just give it a name equals home. Very simple. So this string is basically like a regex. It matches whatever has been cut off from the URL. I'll try to explain that a bit when I go to the site. This is the view that we're using. That is the view that we've defined here. And the view, basically all the view does for the time being is define the template, and the template is this template. So a few simple steps. So if we remember all the way from the first URL, when a path comes in, it goes, okay, we look for whatever path is there. If it matches, we send it to this URLs, which is the one that's within our app. That goes to this view, which is there. This view tells it what template to use, and this is our template that we're going to see. So we're ready to start the server now. So I can go back here and just go Python manage run server. Now this is a server that you only use while you're testing and developing. You don't use this in production. It's just a very simple Python server that Django provides. No module named home URLs. Should this be .py? Maybe. I just have an error there. What am I doing wrong? Should that be a backslash? We did add it to here, installed apps. I don't think we need that. Oh, I know what I've done. I have not named this right. Whoops. Whoops. URLs. So let's see. We fixed it. Does not appear to have any patterns in it. It's your patterns. Pattern. A lot of this sort of boilerplate stuff that you do repeatedly, you kind of forget. Okay, so our server is running, and if we go to the browser, this was our site in the beginning, and if we hit enter, we now have the very simplest little page. So let me just extend that with one little thing. For now, we didn't use this context for anything, so let's just do a title. So there's just this is just a very simple Python dictionary, which is passing values through to here. So now we can use what are known as template tags, and title can be used there, and why not, let's put it in here too. And so this is our way of passing variables from this context. We're passing title to our template, and if we go back and refresh, we can see that we're now using that demo home variable within our template. So that is just a very, very simple start to doing a super simple Django website, but it's kind of nice. Once you get to this step, you can do all sorts of things. You can, extend your HTML and make your site more interesting, or do all sorts of things, but this gets you started. So thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you liked it, and I will see you in future videos.